into that, I guess. So if you want to know if Joe wears pants to these or not, the answer is unequivocally no. This is episode 49 of Farm to Markets, and today we're talking about if the Inflation Reduction Act will actually reduce inflation, if investors are glass half full or glass half empty on the stock market, and we have more lightning round questions at the end. The Inflation Reduction Act cleared the Senate last week and is on its way to the House. Democrats argue that the bill will tackle voters' main economic concerns by reducing inflation through lower healthcare costs, higher taxes on billion-dollar corporations, and reducing the federal deficit. Drew, what do you think?
Let's put it this way. In my house, I'm the saver and my wife is the spender. And it happens to be a great balance. Now, to my wife's credit, she's very thrifty, but sometimes she takes it way too far and goes after deals on stuff that we absolutely don't need. This is referred to as going broke by saving money. So if you get 50% off a $10 propeller hat, for example, you didn't save $5, you actually lost $5. So this is kind of how I view the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't see how printing and spending billions of dollars is going to help curb inflation. Instead of reducing inflation, I see it as being inflationary almost immediately. So what is the bill? Broad strokes, the bill basically aims to invest in things that combat climate change, boost clean energy, and it also allows Medicare to negotiate the prices with drug companies, which would theoretically reduce the cost of expensive prescription drugs. So there's certainly some shades of the Build Back Better plan, but to continue to move the ball down the field, I think it sounded a lot better just to throw in inflation reduction, since that is a problem that affects all Americans on both sides of the aisle. So the question is, that you asked, will the Inflation Reduction Act actually reduce inflation? And I think the answer is absolutely not. It won't reduce it at all. Right off the bat, prescription drug costs could go down for consumers, but the costs of prescription drugs aren't what's inflating the economy. What's inflating the economy is having pumped in huge amounts of money at historical low interest rate levels and then watching supply and demand drive up the prices of home, food, and energy. And by the way, we're going to pay for this bill by taxing large corporations that will just push the costs back on consumers. So it's a good move politically because I think if it gets passed, the Democrats will seal a victory shortly before the midterms. And after that, it really doesn't matter if it reduces inflation or not. Democrats need to pass something, and getting something like the Build Back Better plan blanketed under the Inflation Reduction would certainly help them quite a bit.
The answer to the question, will the Inflation Reduction Act actually reduce inflation? Emphatically, it will not. Nothing has changed to move the direction of where prices are going. All of this is really is just it's a gimmick. It's marketing, but the fact is that nothing is really going to change over the Build Back Better, other than the fact that it's only about 1/3 the size of the monstrosity that Build Back Better originally was. This is just the most politically expedient option that was available to the Biden administration, and that's what they're pressing forward. In terms of reducing costs for healthcare, well, what it's going to do is going to reduce the cost to some Americans, and it's going to increase the cost for other Americans. But as to Drew's point, is that by raising the taxes on corporations, those corporations are going to do nothing more except raise the price of their goods and services in the marketplace, so that even the people who see a reduction in the cost of their healthcare personally, they're just going to pay for it in a different venue. I've often said that one of the things about America is that we feel the pain of our healthcare costs at the hospital, whereas in Europe, people feel the cost of their healthcare when they go to get gas at the gas pump or when they get food at the grocery store with all their different taxes. So fact is that you can cover up how you pay for it, but nothing has changed. The government will continue to print money, which will inflate the dollars that we currently own. And it's always easier to inflate dollars than it is to tax people. And when organizations are actually taxed, they just pass those on to consumer. So the answer to your question, Tom, is no, it will not.
I agree with everything you guys said. They're supposed to take $300 billion and put it towards the federal deficit, but that's not going to make much of a difference over a 10-year period, especially in light of the fact that the government adds about $1 trillion worth of debt per year. So if you divide, just not going to make a huge difference for reducing the federal deficit. And like Joe said, it's basically just going to tax you in a different venue. One thing they could do is if they wanted to take those 80,000 new IRS agents that they're supposed to hire, instead of making them IRS agents, they can just make them customer service agents, and that would probably go a long way to helping the IRS reclaim some of that missed tax revenue. And don't quote me on this, but amongst the 80,000 new IRA applications to be IRS agents, I think, and again, this is probably just a rumor, Lois Lerner's application may have been spotted in that stack. So you got to be careful. All right. Let's see here. So moving on. So while the S&P 500 is down for the year, it's up considerably from its lows on June 16th, leaving some investors to wonder where we're at. Are things good or are they bad? Drew, what do you think?
Right now, in the short term, things are not the best. They're not at their peak, but they're not the worst either. I'm always an optimist or a glass half full guy on the stock market in the long run. Why wouldn't you be? The stock market has never gone to zero since its inception. It's basically simple pattern recognition. A meteor could crash through my house and kill me at any moment, but it's never happened. So statistically, I'm not too worried about it, just like statistically, I'm not too worried about the stock market coming to a crash. Now, markets have dropped huge amounts a few times in history, but it's always rebounded. The way I approach the markets is kind of like Pascal's wager. It makes the most logical sense for me to choose to be a stock market optimist. If I'm an optimist and I'm wrong, and it happens to be the end of capitalism, then we're all in trouble, but at least I had a happy mindset. If I'm right, then I still have a happy and healthy mindset and I continue to make money. Now, if I'm a pessimist and I'm wrong, then I just lived as a pessimist and I didn't invest in the market. And if I'm a pessimist and I'm right, then I'm in the exact same position as everyone else when the economy collapses. So yeah, we're in a brief recession right now, but in terms of the end of capitalism and the end of the markets as we know it, we're not even close, and I don't think it's going to happen.
To be honest, when it comes to being a pessimist or an optimist about the market, it's just not an emotional event for me. It's like brushing my teeth. I wake up every morning, I go in the bathroom, put a little toothpaste on my toothbrush, and I brush my teeth, and I don't think about it a whole lot. And for almost 60 years, I have all my teeth. And it's the same with investing, is that I just take a portion of every dollar that I make and I save it for the future, so that at some point when my body is incapable of working, that the capital that I've saved over the years will take care of me for the rest of my life. The markets are up right now primarily because of all the goodies that are in a lot of the bills that Congress is in the process of passing, and the president is soon to sign. When investors are betting that technology companies are going to get something, well, investors are going to invest in technology companies. And it looks right now that the tech stocks, which have just gotten hammered through the first part of the year, they're coming back with a vengeance right now because they're going, whoa, look at all these goodies that technology companies are going to be getting. But what the government taketh or giveth, the government can also taketh away. So I don't get that excited about it. If getting in NASDAQ stocks makes a lot more sense, then we'll probably start moving more money into NASDAQ stocks. But the fact of the matter is that getting emotional about it is really a bad proposition to start with.
Like you guys, 10 to 15 year periods, I'm definitely optimistic. Shorter term, there's still a bunch of issues that have to be sorted out, but there's always issues that have to be sorted out. Right now, today, inflation numbers were lower than expected, but gas prices offset home and food prices. And right now, we're dumping about a million barrels per day of strategic reserve petroleum onto the market until the midterm election. So I guess I'm curious to see if inflation remains low or if it starts coming up in November, December. And who knows? Nobody can know. Still have a bunch of food issues, like global famine issues. Right now, Ukraine's sending like 1 or 2 ships, I think, a day from Ukrainian ports, and realistically, they should be sending about 170 ships a day full of grain out to the rest of the world. And so there's lots of issues that the world has to contend with. But like I said, this is nothing new for the stock market. Every year, every day, there's always issues that the market has to contend with. And like you guys said, it's just part of an investing, and you invest your portfolio for 10 to 15-year periods, and don't get too caught up on what's going on day-to-day stuff. So excellent. All right, so we'll move on to the lightning round. The Wall Street Journal ran an article about professionals wearing drawstring pants to the office. Drew, would you wear these pants to our office?
I don't think so. I don't think I would. They look kind of silly. You can't wear a belt with them, and we tuck in our shirts. So unless we untucked our shirts and just did that, I don't think it would look too good. If clients or potential clients told me they wanted nothing to do with me because I didn't get on board with the drawstring pant, I might change my tune a little bit. But for now, I think I'll stick with slacks that have belt loops.
I think if I had a client that came in and said that the deal breaker was whether or not I wore drawstring pants, I think I will let them go.
Bold.
Can you not say stuff like that until you're completely retired?
Yeah. You're completely sure nobody wants to see you in drawstring pants. To Drew's point, I did see the style. When I looked up the style, everybody that had the drawstring pants on had like a nice collared shirt on, tucked into their drawstring pants. And from below the belt line down, they look like regular slacks, but it just looks like you're wearing your pajamas, around your midsection. I think I would encourage you to not wear them to the office, but I think I'll pass those.
If you wore like a sweater or your jacket buttoned up, I guess you wouldn't be able to tell, right?
Yeah, if you had a sweater that came below your belt line, nobody would know. So if you want to do this in like winter, I guess go ahead and do it. Otherwise, it looks like you tucked your dress shirt into your sweatpants.
Yeah,
I'm a hard pass on these. All right, so there's a new smartphone app named Polysen that can check for potential cancer-causing preservatives on meat products. It works by placing a sticker on your food, so like your hot dog or your steak or whatever, and then you take a picture of the sticker with your phone, and it tells you how much nitrates are in it. It does this there's like a color coding, so the deeper yellow it is, your phone's able to detect that, and then the more yellow it is, the more nitrates are in your food, and therefore you should avoid it. Drew, you think you would use something like this?
I don't think I would use it. I'd hope that if a bunch of people got on board and changed the trajectory of how our meats are processed, and it reduced the nitrates and nitrites, whatever it is in it, then that would be a good thing. But no, I don't think I would actually download the app and look into it for myself. It's kind of like eating an apple with a worm in it. You just turn off the lights or close your eyes and finish the apple. I don't really want to know.
More than 90% of the protein that I eat actually is produced on my property anyway, so it wouldn't really help me much to begin with. I can't imagine myself going to a restaurant and breaking out my phone app and checking the food right before I eat it and then rejecting it because it has too much nitrates. But no, I don't think it's something I'm interested in.
Yeah, I was going to say is if you're concerned about nitrates, while you're at home, don't eat them. And then if you go out in public and you order something that might have nitrates in it, my advice is go ahead and eat it, and then that way you won't look like a weirdo putting a sticker on your food, taking a picture of it in public. So, yeah. So I'm I'm another hard pass on this.
It'll probably be like Pokemon Go. Remember that app where people were running around town catching Pokemon? I think it was. It'll probably be a hot app for a second, and then it'll just fade out.
I feel like people have a good idea of what foods have a lot of nitrate. I mean, if you're nitrate sensitive, wouldn't you just avoid those foods to begin with? I mean, can you have differing levels of nitrates in bacon?
It's true. Yeah, if you don't eat nitrates, you're not going to order a hot dog at the ball game.
Right.
Just like if you're gluten intolerant, you're not going to order gluten and take a picture of it and then reject it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can just safely assume that it has nitrates in it, therefore it should be avoided. But I don't know.
I must confess, I'm somewhat surprised that you're so quick in your rejection of this app. This seems like this is right up Tom Shook's alley.
What what on earth would make you think that?
Mr. Ultra Pasteurized Milk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look, I mean, it says pasteurized on the model. Like, I don't have to lay a sticker on my milk before I drink it. I mean, that just seems like too much work. And I think you missed the last. I think Joe missed the last one. But I don't really like milk anyway, so it's not really an issue. So, great. All right. So we'll go on to the last question here, where I'm basically going to ask you some questions, and then you tell me if they're true or false. So. The first one is there is a watermelon known as densuke, or the black watermelon, and this watermelon can sell for $250,000 from $250,000 and even possibly as much as up to $6,000. Do you think this is true or false?
I can see it being true.
Joe?
True.
Okay. All right, so the answer is true. There is a watermelon that can sell between $250 and it can sell as much as up to $6,000. Traditionally, it sells for about $1,000, but they've had watermelons that at least one watermelon has sold for as much as $6,000. And the reason is I think there's only 100 produced every year. I don't know if they're any better than any other watermelon, but the fact that they're so rare and there's only 100 of them in the entire world makes them pretty expensive, and I guess they're pretty high quality. So it is true.
Are they? Can you not cultivate them? Do they have to grow naturally?
So it's kind of like chili peppers. Is that they have people where they basically genetically engineer a new kind of chili pepper, and I think that this watermelon has been genetically engineered to be more flavorful, less seeds. And but it's hard to do, so you can only do it with so many of them. And the way you do it is, I think, somewhat proprietary. So you're only getting a limited number of watermelons out of it, and that's what makes it so scarce. But I don't know. I mean, you guys could try it in your garden at home and sell a $6,000 watermelon. Let me know how it works out. All right, so the next one, I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Oh, all right, can you see this? All right, so this is can you see this picture that I have on my desktop here?
The baby Buddha?
Yeah, the baby Buddha. Okay. All right. So the last question here is that this pear is called a Buddha pear. And my question is, do you think this is a real is this a real pear or is this a fake pear? Drew.
Was it? Did someone carve it that way, or did it just grow like that?
I guess the question is, did it grow like that? I mean, is this would you actually find a pear like this that you can eat?
No. False.
Joe?
False. No.
Okay. So, hang on here. All right. So it's kind of a trick question. Is that the Buddha pear is actually a thing? Is that you can actually buy a bunch of Buddha pears? They'll sell them in, I don't know, whatever country that does this. You can buy a whole 12 Buddha pears, and they're $9 a pear or something like that. But it's actually a thing. And I was reading this article, and it was true or false, and I was definitely false. And I was why? And then the answer was true. So I was why the heck is this true? And so what they do is that the pear actually does grow on the tree like that. But what they don't tell you is that when the pear is small, they put a casing around it that looks like Buddha. So when it grows, it takes the form of a Buddha. So you could basically do this with you could have a Joe Coco pear and sell a bunch of those.
I think we should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. So you just get a die cast plastic mold, put a tree in your yard, and then you could grow pears that look like the shape of your face. They also do this with square watermelons. Yeah, square watermelons are not naturally occurring, or they don't occur naturally. They're not grown in nature as squares, but if you put a casing around it, the fruit will actually grow into it and take whatever shape the casing has around it, and it looks pretty cool. So yes, the Buddha pear is actually real, and they will actually hang on the trees like that, and it actually looks pretty weird. but they just put a casing around it. So technically, yes, it's a real thing, but no, I mean, it's not like the thing just naturally appeared like it. If it did, it would blow my mind, especially with that amount of detail. But that last one's kind of a trick question. So,
Kind of cool.
all right, well that's all from us today. Make sure you catch Farm to Markets every week, and we'll send another one out next week.
Hey, just let our local listeners know that if anybody's in desperate need of zucchini, just call the office and get on the list, because I've got more zucchini than our families can certainly eat by ourselves.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So get on Joe's zucchini list, or you're gonna find it in the backseat of your car. All right. Thanks for watching.